Welcome back once again, all of my low carb friends, and for those of you who are here for the first time, welcome. Today I have another very easy keto cookie recipe for you. Today I'm going to show you how to make a very basic keto egg-free cookie dough. This cookie dough is great. It's so simple, and once you learn how to make it, you can put pretty much any flavorings, any add-ins, and make just about any cookie you want using this basic egg-free cookie dough. I'm sure pretty much everyone everywhere has felt to a certain extent the effects of the egg shortage that's going on right now. Eggs can be almost impossible to find, and if you do find them, they can be absolutely ridiculous in price. So I will be putting out some more egg-free recipe for you guys, along with the other egg-free recipes that I already have on my channel. I'm going to try to put them all together into a playlist. That way you can just go to the channel page and click on the playlist if you are looking for an egg-free recipe. But for today, we are going to make egg-free keto cookies. And if you want a printable version of this recipe, you can check out my website at janet'sdeliciouslowcarbkitchen.com. You can find a printable version of this recipe and other goodies there for you. And if you're new to the channel and you want to see lots of easy, delicious, low-carb keto recipes, make sure you click that subscribe button and click the notification bell that's right next to the subscribe button. That way you can be notified every time I put out videos, at least every Wednesday and Saturday. And if you'd like to help support the channel, make sure you scroll down in the description of the video. You'll see some affiliate links. Anytime you purchase anything using those affiliate links, a small portion of your purchase will go to me and help support the channel. So while we do all that, let's get cooking. Preheat your oven to 375 degrees. Line 2 large baking sheets with parchment paper or silicone mats and set them aside for a minute. In a small bowl, combine 16 grams or around 2 tablespoons of golden flaxseed meal. If you don't have flaxseed meal, you can use whole seeds. Then put them in a coffee grinder or a food processor and grind them really fine. Then you would measure out 16 grams or about 1 tablespoon of the ground flax seeds. Add 89 milliliters or around 3 tablespoons of room temperature water. Use a fork and stir the flaxseed meal and the water together until fully combined. Once fully combined, set it aside and let it sit at least 5 minutes or until it becomes a gummy texture. While the flaxseed and water are sitting, in a large mixing bowl, combine 70 grams or around 10 tablespoons of coconut flour, 10 grams or around 2 teaspoons of baking powder, a 1/4 teaspoon of salt, 25 grams or around 2 tablespoons of the granulated sweetener of your choice. I'm using granulated monk fruit sweetener. You can use whatever granulated sweetener you want. You can also adjust this more or less depending on how sweet you want your cookies. Add 84 grams or around 7 tablespoons of the brown sugar sweetener of your choice. I'm using brown monk fruit sweetener. You can use whatever brown sugar sweetener you want. You can also adjust this more or less depending on how sweet you want your cookies. If you don't want a mix of brown sugar sweetener and granulated sweetener, you can use just all granulated sweetener or all brown sugar sweetener. It's up to you. Sift everything all together until everything is fully combined and there are no lumps in the dry ingredients. Add a 1/2 cup of butter that's been melted and cooled. Make sure it is cooled. You do not want to add hot butter. Stir the butter into the dry ingredients until everything is fully combined and all the dry ingredients are moist. Add 31 grams or around 2 tablespoons of room temperature plain yogurt or sour cream. If you're wanting to make this completely dairy-free, you can use a dairy-free yogurt. Whatever yogurt you are using, if you're using yogurt instead of sour cream, make sure that the yogurt is thick. Greek yogurt is the best. This helps with binding your ingredients together since we're not using eggs. So you do want your yogurt to be on the thicker side. Stir everything together until everything is fully combined. Check on your flaxseed mixture and use a fork and give it a little bit of a stir. Make sure it has a gummy texture to it. If it doesn't have any gummy texture at all to it, then make sure you let it sit for another 5 minutes or so. You want this to have a gummy, almost yolky type between the gummy flaxseed mixture and the yogurt or sour cream. Those two main things are going to help bind your ingredients together. Once the flaxseed mixture is nice and gummy, add the flaxseed mixture to your mixing bowl. Then add 1½ teaspoons of vanilla extract or the extract flavor of your choice. Whatever flavor you're going to want in your cookies, that would be the flavor you would add. You can also adjust it more or less depending on how dominant a flavor you want in your cookies. Stir everything together for a good 20 to 30 seconds or until everything is smooth and you have a smooth, moist dough that's formed. Once your dough has formed, scrape down the sides of the bowl, push the dough to the center of the bowl, then allow the dough to sit for another 5 minutes so it can absorb any excess moisture and the binders can start binding all the ingredients together. After your dough has sat for about 5 minutes, form your dough into a smooth ball. Your dough is still going to be moist, but it should not be super wet. It should be coming together nice and easy. Once your dough is formed into a ball, you want to test your dough and make sure that it is the right texture. Scoop out a tablespoonful of the dough, then roll it around in your hand until a smooth ball forms. The dough should come together nice and easy and should be smooth and hold its shape well. If the dough isn't coming together and it feels too wet still, then try letting it sit for another 5 minutes and then test it again. If it still feels like it's too wet, then just add a tiny bit more coconut flour until your dough comes together and holds its shape well. If it feels dry, which I really don't think it will, but if for some reason it does feel dry and crumbly, then you need to add a tiny bit more of the plain yogurt or add another flax egg until your dough comes together well and holds its shape and forms a smooth ball easily. Once you've tested your dough and it's holding its shape well, form it back into a ball and place it back into your mixing bowl. You can leave the dough just as it is if you're just wanting a plain cookie, but if you're wanting to do any add-ins, like I'm going to be adding in some keto chocolate chips right here, use your wooden spoon and break the ball of dough up a little bit. Then gradually fold in up to a ½ cup of keto chocolate chips or whatever add-ins of your choice that you're choosing to add in if you want to add anything in. If you are adding anything in, make sure you do it gradually. You just want to add in a little bit, fold it in until it's distributed, then add a little bit more and fold it in until it's evenly distributed. You don't want to add it all at once. It's just easier to make sure that the add-ins are evenly distributed throughout the dough if you do it just a little bit at a time. Once you've added in your chocolate chips or whatever add-in that you have folded into the dough and it's evenly distributed, then again form the dough back into a ball and place it back into your mixing bowl. Then scoop the dough out about 1 tablespoon at a time and place it onto your prepared baking sheets. Make sure when you are placing the scoops on your baking sheets that you leave about 1 to 2 inches of space between each scoop. These cookies do not spread or really rise or anything like that, but you do need space so that you can form the cookies into your desired shape. And once your cookies are formed, you want to make sure there's still space around them so airflow can get around the entire cookie and you have a nice even cook on all sides. Once the dough is all scooped out, roll each dough scoop into a tight, smooth ball, and again place it back onto your baking sheet, again making sure there is space between each one of the dough balls. Once your dough scoops are all shaped into smooth balls, use your hands or the back of a small measuring cup and press each dough ball out to a round disc shape of your desired size and thickness. The thinner you press your cookies, the quicker they're going to cook and the crisper they're going to be once they firm up. Just make sure as you are forming each cookie that you keep the dough smooth all the way around. Make sure the sides are all smooth. If they start cracking a little bit, just make sure you rub your fingers around them and smooth out any cracks. Once the cookies are all pressed out, again, make sure there is space in between each cookie once they are formed. Place the cookies in your preheated oven. Bake at 375 degrees for 12 to 15 minutes or until golden. Once the cookies have baked and they're nice and golden, remove them from the oven. They still will be very soft, but they will firm up as they cool. So allow them to cool on the pan 10 to 15 minutes or until they're firm enough to remove without them falling apart. After the cookies have cooled for about 10 to 15 minutes and they've firmed up a little bit, transfer them to a wire rack. As long as there is any warmth in these cookies, they will be soft, but as they cool, they will continue to firm up. So once they are cooled completely, they will be firm. Once the cookies have cooled completely and they're nice and firm, you can eat these immediately. If you do have any leftovers, store them in an airtight container at room temperature for up to 5 days. Eat and enjoy. And that's our recipe of the day. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did and you want to see more videos like this, make sure you click that thumbs up like button, click that subscribe button, leave me a comment if you want to. Let me know if there's any recipes that you'd like to learn how to make, and I'll do what I can to get those out there for you. And as always, keep cooking.